You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, presented by the Nation Network. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Oilersnation Radio episode, Who Cares? I'm Angry. Bag Milk, Liam, Dan, Rick, Tyler, we're all here. Game 3, we're going to talk about it. I don't want to. I said we should talk about Big Brother Canada, but nobody else wanted to. So fine, we will talk about the Oilers. And as we do every week, or every episode, I should say, we start off with a shout out to our friends at Oodle Noodle. 18 locations and counting. Go get a free sticker if you're in Edmonton. If they're out of stickers, let us know. We will have them restocked ASAP Rocky. Got it? Good. Tyler, what do you got for a delicious debate today?
In honor of this being episode 290 of the podcast, we present 290 reasons why the Oilers lost Game 3. Could we do it? Maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
Anyways, the delicious debate is
290 passes to no one in particular.
We'll go back through the game film and just say every pass individually. 8:34 mark of the first. CC intended for Kane, picked off.
How many completed passes did you bet on yesterday, and how many were there?
The under hit.
You know what's driving me nuts? Like, I know we're going to get into the delicious debate, but on the past joke, like the Oilers just lobbing it up center as if that was a great breakout play all the time was driving me nuts. Anyway, go ahead.
I also, just staying on that, I like that they were sitting there and tried a couple home run passes early in the game and they got picked off and we're like, now we're due to get one, and just kept trying it.
It's just like every third play is a Hail Mary. Eventually you will get one.
All right. Anyways, the delicious debate today is this. Why did the Oilers lose Game 3?
Alternate theory, Liam. Yesterday was the first game they played at home since Game 5 against the LA Kings.
That is a good theory.
So what's the thinking behind like that being your...
The reason I was thinking about it before the game yesterday is we've seen countless examples, not just with the Oilers, of teams going out on a long road trip and the first game back is just a shit show. Because you get back into your normal life, you play with the dog, you go for your wherever you go, just living your life, and you're not kind of zoned in on where you should be. And again, it's anecdotal. I'm not saying that that's the reason for it, but we've seen it around the league countless times after a long road trip.
Yeah, like I do actually I do agree with you on it as well. You should have seen it coming a little bit more, maybe.
Definitely part of it.
I'm not blaming the fact that they were gone for 10 days or whatever it is for the reason that they lost last night, but like, I feel like it's probably part of it. I would have stuck them out in a hotel in Nisku. No water slides.
That's the worst part.
Just a motel. You have a family diner attached at the lobby, and that's all you get.
So depending on when they would have flown out to LA for that Game 6, because remember there was a 3-day gap, their last night at home might have been the 26th, I guess, of April. So that means they've been on the road for almost 2 weeks.
So again, it's anecdotal, but it's something we've seen multiple times. And I was thinking about it going into last night's game. And I was just like, I hope that they're fucking focused and dialed in, because you get home and you resume your life.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, you kind of get into the habits of when you're on the road. It's like, hey, what's the team doing? What's our plan? Like, what do they have laid out for us? Like, you go home, it's like, I'm going to sit on the couch and hang out for a little bit. That's what.
Yeah, you got 2 weeks worth of BB can you got to get caught up on, and all of a sudden you're in bed at 2 a.m. You know?
Yeah. Anyone else got an answer?
I just think that the Vegas Golden Knights were better than the Edmonton Oilers last night. I think that happens. I think that that this team, is way more capable of what they showed yesterday, and I think that they can beat this Vegas Golden Knights team, but I just think that was one of those games you just throw it in the trash bin and you move on.
Oh, you definitely do that,
but
sure.
I just, I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer, Bag Milk. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. I think it happens.
I'm not going to give, Vegas has a little bit of credit out of this, but I think more importantly, it's the Oilers who beat the Oilers last night.
Yes.
There was a lot of that.
I'm not willing to say Vegas was a good team last night.
No, they did it. They finished the game. They were up, whatever.
They capitalized on their chances, all that shit.
But the Edmonton Oilers are and always will be their biggest opponent right now, and it's frustrating to watch because we've seen them come out and absolutely dummy some of the best teams in the league.
Like, I'll give Vegas credit for executing well and playing a simple game, whereas the Oilers did none of that.
But it wasn't like a high-skilled game. It wasn't.
But
I don't think Vegas really did anything.
But they went north,
shot themselves in the foot repeatedly.
But that's what I mean. Like, Vegas, they did north-south, very simple. They sat back and waited, picked off Oilers' passes to no one in particular countless times.
It was a lot
Whereas
of
in game 2, there was no side-to-side passes really unless you had a clear lane. But last night they were trying to whip shit across the ice all over the place. And it was tough to watch.
Yeah, tape-to-tape passes last night were few and far between. A lot of into the feet.
A lot of into the feet, a lot of a foot long, foot
And then
short.
close to the net, a lot of into the feet.
No
Or
shots on
or
Adin
the
Hill.
wrong side for the shooter. Like I remember there was a pass from Leon to Bush down low, and it was off Bush's left foot, tried to stop it, but he's a right shot, so his stick's not even close to that. If that's a left-handed shot, that puck's going in on a one-timer. But with Bush there, it was impossible for him to do anything.
Yeah, I would give my reason being I just think the team defense was horrendous.
Yep.
There was just mistakes, like missed assignments. Like obviously the Zach Whitecloud goal is the one that stands out the most, where they just Nurse and Fogle just didn't do the switch and just
Ran
like
into each other, then Cece didn't force him. Cece let him come in and shoot.
I think
walked
CC
in,
could
too.
have done a little bit more in there too.
Yeah, you got to
and I
force that
know-
guy at that point and hope one of those guys who just made the mess at the blue line get the hell back and cover your guy.
I think so too. And you look at the replay and it kind of looks like Nurse at least gets back to check the guy who CC would have been covering. But yeah, eventually like the
gotta
assignment
get
has already been blown because you mess it up at the blue line and the whole idea's gone. So you've just got to step up and try and deal with that situation. But
Yeah, and that's where I think communication comes into this. Like
Yeah,
CC
big
has to
time.
see that, step up, and just tell one of those guys, hey, cover him and go out and take this guy.
yeah, and I think another reason for me is the will. They just didn't seem to have a will to actually want to win that hockey game at many points. I think the first 8 minutes or so of the game, they were like, okay, let's do it. And then
We're buzzing.
yeah, and then Evander Kane tried to get something going right at the end of the period with Pietrangelo, and then after that it was
downhill.
Deadsville.
As
It
soon
was
as
brutal.
first period was, I very much disliked the officiating in the first period. There were 4 blatant calls I thought you missed, and I don't
One
care
led,
how,
at least the Yamo missed high stick, that was directly led to a goal.
Yeah.
Dude,
And the McLeod one right after was brutal.
McLeod one, and then he tries to say it's a follow through.
That's
Like
what
the ref
That's
was
what they
saying
said
it's
on
a
TV.
That's what
follow
the
through.
announcers were trying to.
It was,
Surmise.
and then there's the neon Hyman, and then the cross check the back of Bush's head. Those are 4, and I don't care how, and I know you're not supposed to blame the refs, and I get it, you're supposed to be better, blah, blah, blah. But I don't care how bad you play, those are penalties. And in a
100%.
multi-billion-dollar company or whatever the NHL makes, you need to have officials out there making those calls. And then the Evander Kane thing was a direct result of those 4 calls not being made.
Well, and then also, so the Evander Kane thing, yes, he had his stick up high. I'm not saying he did not get a penalty on Pietrangelo.
was definitely- but the punch
how
right back was
about
not
the
a return.
4 guys jumping right in and popping him from the back? Like none of that? Okay.
Yeah.
You can't. It's very, and I hate being the conspiracy theory guy, but you can't look at that game and not say, I believe the refs are doing this because of what Kane did last game.
Or because they don't want to give the
allow the
Oilers
power
power
play to
play.
do whatever they do.
So that, again, I know you said you're not supposed to bitch about the refs. I get that mindset, but I just feel like sometimes people and even an analyst go so far to be like, the refs aren't a problem, the refs aren't a problem, the refs aren't a problem. And it doesn't make sense to me. If I was ranking 1 through 290 reasons the Oilers lost that hockey game last night, number 1 is officiating.
Because it was the very
Straight
beginning of the
up.
game. Very beginning of the game.
And I do not understand any argument against that being number 1 on the list. Did the Oilers struggle to fight through adversity? Yup, but guess where that adversity came from? The refs. Did the Oilers struggle in the second period of that game and then not get momentum back? Yeah, sure. But you know what? They started that period shorthanded. Why? The refs. Did the Oilers go down 2-1 after going up 1-0? Yup. What happened 12 seconds before the goal? Missed high stick on Yamamoto. How many times we as a collective here, we're not experts or anything. We're not watching 1,000 hockey games a year, but we watch a lot of hockey in this room. How many times have you seen a player snap his head back because of a high stick and have it not be called? More often, it's the other way. He snaps his head back for no reason and the ref's itching. Fucking right. High stick, head snap back. The officiating was terrible. And if the Oilers lose this series, it comes back to that hockey game.
Same duo, I believe, as Game 1 versus LA. And we
Vegas.
had the same issue with that game.
8 minutes on the power play.
Sean Hebert.
Vegas had
Not paying
8
for it.
minutes on the power play last night. Edmonton had 34 seconds.
There was, because again, there was the garbage time power play call, which I don't count that at all. That's officials trying to make themselves look better on the stat
exactly
sheet,
it, yeah.
and that's a fucking joke. And the other one, you're right, was one that negated a Golden Knights power play. They always got 30 seconds of power play time. They were already down 5-1 at that point.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And again, people oh, it's not the ref's fault, not the ref's fault. Yeah, the Oilers should have fought through that better. They shouldn't have totally folded like a cheap tent in the second period. I get it. Their star players weren't good last night. Leon Draisaitl, I don't know if he had to be brought back down to earth or back into this, because he's still probably not down to earth. He needed to be brought back into like this atmosphere from how hot he was. Yeah. He was brutal. Stuart Skinner, at some point you gotta have a big game for us, buddy. All of this stuff. But number one is the officiating, and people go so far out of their way in their analysis to be like, it was not the ref's fault. Sometimes you can sit there and say, it was the ref's fault.
I don't know the issue with it. Like, I don't know why the refs can't be a storyline in games sometimes, especially like what you basically just riled off Tyler. We didn't even talk about the Hyman knee on knee there, like basically.
He's not at practice today.
No, like it ruined his game. And yeah, a mistake by the officials led directly to a Vegas Golden Knights goal, which was the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
Like, it was a mistake, and it's okay to say because they were not good in the first period, but also the Oilers didn't do anything after that to help themselves.
Yep.
I think that some of the like don't blame the officiating conversation comes from the fact that people demand that the players overcome that officiating issue, right?
Yeah.
That they want their team to overcome that. But I think it's pretty silly of analysts or anybody to say that fans should not be critical of the referees. That's like literally all we can do is converse and talk about it and be upset about it. Like it's that's such a silly notion to always have about these things. And I mean, like, obviously the referees play a role with this team all the time. Our power play is lethal. So we're the benefit of it, and we're the negative beneficiary of it as well. That's why I say, like, for this team, you're just going to bin it. You bin the game, and then you move on. But you're right. As a fan base and as analysts, we have to talk about that, and we have to keep that conversation going.
And avoiding giving power plays because the team is so damn good is managing a game.
Last night was prime game management.
I don't want to call it match fixing because I don't think they're out there trying to make Vegas win, but they're definitely preventing the Oilers from being on the power play.
And I think that's the part that I think that it doesn't get talked about enough is the ticky-tacky penalties at the end of the game. And that'll help. That in the moment we don't talk about it, right? But 10 days down the road, that whitewashes that game for the referees a little bit, because it makes it look like the power plays were way more even than they were.
I talk to Sean Bell about that on Owen every day, and like as soon as I brought up that late call, he got like a smirk on his face, because for guys like that have played the highest levels of hockey, they know what it is. Mm-hmm. Coaches get fined for that stuff a lot, because that's the stuff that just sets them off. Is a ref who wants to be able to go to his boss and go, "What are you talking about? Power plays were 4-2. That's not that bad." Okay, we'll dig into the numbers like you did, BM, in the first 40 minutes of that hockey game. Whoo, they were all Vegas. And then the missed calls, too. It was an embarrassing night from the officials for the NHL.
Because the Oilers went 2 for 2 in the first period against Vegas, the game before.
I guarantee you those refs last night, it was in their head like, okay, don't give the game to Edmonton early, right? We want to set the tone here for a good hockey game. Well, you try so hard to not make an impact on the game that you change.
When can we replace them with robots?
Hopefully,
there's going to be some kind of AI app here coming soon.
So, I saw a video, and it's with, I just like bringing up his name because of 2006 and whatever. It was Rod Brindamore.
I love
and
this.
Rod Brindamore had something about putting two guys on the ice, 2 guys in the box. The guys in the box, they watch the computers, they watch the screens, and it's a quick whistle, whatever. They fix it, but the way he had it was it just seemed to be so much better for today's game right now.
His idea was to basically put one of the 2 refs in the penalty box with like a replay setup. So like on that Yamo play where he's high sticked, the ref could be sitting there watching the game and go, okay, quickly, I need to see another angle, pull back. That's a penalty. And then he could just blow his whistle from the penalty box, play stops. It goes, at 18:35, there was a high sticking penalty, like whatever. You have no more missed calls.
So VAR is kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like if a team scores, you can pull it back to see if there was a foul or a penalty. In this case, that call happened before that, which would then prevent the goal from happening. Yeah. People don't like it, but it's usually the right call 9 times out of 10. And I would rather have that at the end of the day.
It's funny that you can't challenge that, though. You can challenge a goal because 45 seconds ago there was a hand pass.
Yeah, but not that.
But we can't challenge a penalty. I don't get that.
Just don't challenge a high stick.
I mean, it's like the NBA. I've talked about it before here, where it's they wave their finger in the air to let the
pass thing there. We went through that a couple of games ago, wasn't it? Wasn't it in LA? There was a hand pass, something like that.
Yeah, I just.
So You can challenge a hand pass, but you can't challenge a penalty.
Oh yeah, it was Jake DeBrusk in Game 7 versus Florida, right? Or Game 6, where he like kind of basically fell on the puck and he just knocked it.
Well, didn't the puck go off Connor too, or something like that?
I don't remember.
McDavid one.
Overall, refs
stick?
stink.
Oh, that was a high stick. That's what it was. Yeah, so the high stick and a glove pass, you can sit there and challenge, but you can't challenge a penalty.
But I guess
exact
was
same
that
way, right?
Was that that was the Oilers that were challenging.
The high stick was the Oilers, and then the glove pass was
It
the
is,
Bruins.
It is weird that Woody can't challenge and say, hey, the play should have been blown dead for a high sticking penalty.
Yeah.
And they go, like, if Woody says, it's not like Woody can sit there.
Hold on. Proper respect. Mr. Koopel, I believe, would be the one.
I know, yeah. But I'm saying, like, it's not like Woody can call the ref over and say, hey, I want to review the last 2 minutes to see if there were any penalties. Like, it should have to be like a
specific.
Koopel calls down. Okay, I got Eichel high stick
penalty, yeah.
at the minute 5 mark. Eichel high stick Yamamoto behind the net, minute 5 mark. Go watch it. Yeah. And they go, boop, boop, high stick.
Yes.
There's no goal. Oilers power play. Like, it should
There's
work.
no reason why you can't, given that you can call offside long before a goal goes in.
Yeah.
I've been screaming about it the whole time with this video review thing. As soon as you take video review and make it not a report on what the referees are doing, and it's a tool that the referees can use, that's when it becomes infinitely better. Like right now, it is a tool that is
It's a snitch line.
It's telling on the referees for doing it wrong, and they have to some calls they have to admit it themselves. They have to come out and say, "Yeah, I did it wrong."
It's so dumb.
It's crazy, but until you make it a tool, it's going to be this.
And do we have all the reffing stuff out of our system? Because there's another point I want to
I'm
make.
good for refs.
Yeah. Like, it is a big story. We spent
Just
10
the first
minutes here
period
talking about
in those 4 plays.
Yep. But also, I mentioned, Stuart Skinner at some point, he's got to make a big save. I was this close. I had the tweet in my brain. I was excited to hit send when the period ended. I was going to tweet statement period by Stuart Skinner because he had stopped like 15 of 16 shots. Yeah. And if that call on Yamamoto gets made, we're sitting here today talking about, man, Stuart Skinner held them in the game. They scored on that power play to go up 2-1 at the end of the first. The night's different. And I feel bad for Skinner, and he was in the starter's net today at practice. So
as he should be.
They might be going back to him. I feel for Skinner. He should have stopped that White Cloud one. I didn't love that goal.
It's a really good shot, though.
It's a good shot, but like
Right
It was a hell of a shot.
Right in the side of the post, up in the top corner.
And
It's very
My
tough
bigger
to stop.
problem was not with Stu not making that save. Is just how much time did White Cloud have to just walk in and pick his spot?
Yeah, that was Nurse and Fogle just miscommunicating. Fogle chased not even his guy, the other guy out of the zone. It was very confusing. But like, I feel bad for Stu though. Like, he had to get yanked again on a night where, I mean, like Eichel coming in point blank after Bouchard blows a tire. What is going on? That first goal, Cody Ceci, do literally anything. I'm begging you, please.
Just that one was right in front of me, and it hurt real bad.
Like, Cody Ceci is like sitting there watching, I think it was Eichel, just watching him, being like, all right, where is he going? And then Eichel throws it in front, they score.
Put his ass on the ground.
Yeah.
It is the easiest play in hockey. Push him
also-
as hard as you can so his face hits the ice and
Like,
he's crying.
You don't even have to like cross check him or
No.
splash him. Like, you're a defenseman in front of your own net. Use your hands,
Push him.
and you can push him. It's like,
Yes.
that's not a penalty to hit. Body contact's allowed, Cody.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Send him to
So
offensive lineman school.
I would love for Stuart Skinner to steal him one. And maybe last night was one of those games where, like, if he was just on it and at his A+, he holds him in it a little bit longer. But also, like, the team in front of him, brutal. Officiating, brutal. So much brutal. Their effort level, brutal. Warren Fogle looked like the only player who woke up in the morning and was like, fuck, we should try win tonight.
I'll say this, though. If you're going to have a bad game, you may as well have everybody have a bad game in the same game.
Just like in game 2 when everyone had a good game at the same moment.
This has to be, like, right now, everyone start putting your money down on the Oilers for tomorrow.
We got to
There
find
was
some
an
middle
egg, there
ground.
was a flat tire on game 1, killed him game 2, flat tire game 3, kill him game 4.
I hope you're right.
So do I.
I encourage you for Friday, book yourself a table at Greta. We're going to be having another viewing party. Go to gretabar.com/book. Get your reservations in. I promise you it's going to be a packed house. It's going to kick off our weekend with a big Oilers win.
What time's your flight leave?
gretabar.com/book. Listen,
You're not going, are you?
no, absolutely not.
I thought there was something going on I didn't know about.
No, like I would love
Big
if AMA
assumption
Travels just like, all right, boys, time to go. And I'll be like, my credit card says no.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it was like, hey Tyler, we're bringing you back to Vegas, I'd be like, yeah, no.
I don't know. I got a pretty good picture from the first night there of someone playing the craps table. Hey, get you by a day or two again.
Well, if I had another run like that, then maybe. I'd tell you though, we went ice cold after that one. So, nope. I will be at Greta on Friday. That's where I am going to be. GretaBar.com/book. If you want to join us, get your reservations in. I promise you it is going to be a packed house. Another couple of things from last night. Laurent Brossoit went down. And he went down hard. So I was at the other end of the rink. I didn't really see what happened. Anybody?
I think it's when he kicks out his right leg.
Yeah, like when he pushed across. When you watch the replay, there was no moment where you're like, "That was it."
No, but when he pushed to the other side to make the stop of the rebound, there was nothing there to push with. There was no push. You knew he was hurt there. So it was either the reflex of the first shot or the sudden twitch to go from his left to his right to push over. But there was no gas in pushing across.
Yeah, I think you can kind of tell a little bit about a player's injury based on how they react, right? When a guy blocks a shot and it's like a stinger, right? They're in a lot of pain and they go off. Or I always think about football. Remember that Super Bowl when OBJ blew out his ACL?
Yep.
And he just went down and the look on his face of not sad or whatever, but the look, you'd be like, oh man, he knows it's bad. And with Brossoit, the way he threw his glove towards the boards when he was down, it was just oh, this isn't just I might have tweaked something. It's
I think
he knows what's up, and he missed time already this year with a lower body injury as well.
Didn't he? Wasn't in the off season? Did he have hip surgery in the off season too?
Oh, I don't know. He
is
just
that what
seems
it
like he's
was?
never healthy.
And his initials are LB.
Looks like Bruce Cassidy's had no update on Brossoit today, but based on the injury and just how it looked, I would say doubtful for tomorrow.
Okay, hold on. Okay, now I know he was the number one backup. So are they then going Adin Hill?
I don't think
They got to bring Jonathan Quick.
I don't
Yeah,
think you
please.
go away
I
from
remember-
Hill after that.
Oh, buddy, we sharpened our teeth on Quick there a couple games. Well, I guess in the regular season there at the end.
What I would do to see Jonathan Quick in this series right now.
Oh,
Boy, oh boy. Someone take a shot at Hill, maybe. Just a little. Vincent Day on the left wing.
Can I just add this? Again, I liked the response at Rogers Place. Everyone stood up and cheered. Former Oiler. You feel bad for Laurent Brossoit.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you were the Oilers, you sit there they should have sat there for about 5 seconds and said, ooh, that sucks. Oh, pedal to the floor. We got a guy coming in cold right now.
Yeah.
And instead, they were like, you know what? Couple perimeter shots. Let him warm up.
Yeah,
we'll let him feel his way into this thing.
Let's
Canadian
pass
way.
it in, maybe.
Yeah.
Canadian way.
Oh, man. The team just had they didn't want to
Killer
fight through any sort of
instinct.
adversity, and they had no killer instinct.
There was no north-south
Vegas
yesterday.
did get their sticks in a lot of shots in front of the net, but
Yep.
still, they need to get past that. It's only a stick.
There was so many side-to-side pass attempts to no one in particular last night. It was driving me bananas because, like Tyler said, they did not test Adin Hill whatsoever. It's not like they gave him an extended warm-up either. He was in there and we
There's
were
no
going.
warm up for a goalie in that situation.
So it was frustrating that they didn't throw everything on it. I say shoot from the parking lot all the time. That was a classic time to do it.
Yeah, they should have been lining up Bush's shot the whole time. And go 3/4 shot. Don't need a bomb because I want you to hit it.
Get someone in front of his eyes.
Yeah, and fire him right
There
out.
was none of that either. There was no chaos in front of the net
There
from
was
the Oilers
zero
side either.
traffic.
Zero.
Liam, you pointed that out. The amount of times you always be like, all right, quick little wrister from the point.
And he just goes, whoop, scoop it up.
Just right into it. And it's just okay, if that's the scouting report, is getting sticks in lanes and getting some tips on it, then sure, but you got to get your sticks there. You can't just shoot from nowhere, right?
It doesn't matter,
So
too.
frustrating.
For the most part, I would say. It doesn't matter who you are in the NHL. If you're a goaltender and you can see the shot, you're going to stop it.
Yeah,
cases,
they are the best in the world.
So the Oilers did a very poor job last night of just letting him see everything.
Yeah, it was a brutal effort, honestly, and they just got away from basically everything they did in game 2.
When he was right in front of me where my seats were last night, there was a bunch of shots on him last night that seemed like just what you'd get in warmies, you know? Just low wristers on the pads, low wristers into the glove, nothing really I don't know, it was the complete opposite of what we got on Saturday.
Yeah.
I love the guy, but that play where Vinny Desharnais somehow got set up to walk into the slot, and then like his stick kind of got stuck, and he had to shoot it from an awkward spot. But like you could read the writing on the puck as it fluttered towards the net. Like, game 3,
man,
Oilers going.
Yeah, I wanted one of those tickle the rafter slap shots.
Yeah,
Close your eyes, tickle the rafters, let it bomb. Whatever happens, happens.
So I think a big key for the Oilers going into tomorrow's game, and we'll get to that next, is just let's get some shots, little chaos.
Killer instinct.
Before we tee up game 2 BM, because I know we're getting there, let's pause for an ad.
We're going back to game 2,
Oh, sorry, I mean game 2 at home.
game 4.
Yesterday, I saw someone get denied entry into Rogers Place because they had their tickets
For Wednesday.
round 2, game 3, right? But it says that, but that's round 2, like the third game at Rogers Place.
Home game 3.
Home game 3.
Game 6.
Game 6. And the people at the gate, understandably so, I guess they were pissed. Like the lady was explaining, like, oh, so like you have these for game 6. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit.
Okay, but I get, I think the game thing is confusing, and I think that's
Why can't they just put game 6 on it?
Why don't you just put May 8th on it?
That too.
True. Yes.
Also that.
Well, because they'll like,
Because these would probably have been pre-sale.
yeah, like they probably got them super early, right? Before we knew the schedule or before we even knew if Edmonton
But at least
was
if you
gonna
have
be-
game 6 on
But
there,
it
you
is.
know
It
it's
probably
game
was
6.
digital.
But like then if the Oilers are the home team, there is no game 6 here, right?
But we knew Vegas though.
I don't know. I just know this guy was
Either way,
very
like I feel
irritated.
for the guy because you're thinking, well, at least you
hold
missed the
on,
game, you know.
Yeah, you feeling for him before the game starts. You don't feel as bad at the end of the game.
No,
And
you
now
probably
you're
went
just
home.
like, well, you know what, man? Those tickets may be really, really good now.
Yeah. Anyways, I
Tyler,
thought
how
that
do
was-
I check to see how many high danger saves Adin Hill made?
Like
I'll tell
3.
you 0.
That's what I'm kind of looking at here. I think it
They
might be.
showed a stat last night of like shots from the slot or something like that, and it was terrible.
Is this it right here? High HDCF.
That'd be high danger shot attempts. So
Okay,
not
so there
even
was
that.
0 in the second period by the Oilers.
Perfect.
That sounds
That's
about
good.
right.
Yeah, and remember, that's not even like shots on goal. That would include like a high danger chance you miss the net on or hit the post or gets
Right.
blocked. It includes all those. The Oilers did not attempt a single shot from a high danger area in the second period.
Says they had 5 in the third. I can't remember what. Philip
Broberg.
Broberg. That's so I would say they had
When
one.
he stopped Broberg there, I was very close to going home with 15 minutes to go because I was like, if you're going to come back, that one probably had to go in.
Who
so.
shot that backhand right from the top of the slot or top of the crease? There would have been considered.
I will say though, with high danger chances, they are very vague. Like the one in game, there's one in game 1 where LB made the save with the butt end of his stick on Klim Kostin, and that technically wasn't a high danger chance.
There was a
despite the podcast, you would have gone in. If
There was a game in the regular season where we got scored, maybe it was Winnipeg or something like that. The dude scored on us from like in the slot,
right.
and it wasn't considered a high danger. So at that point, I'm like,
It's-
I don't
it's
know
a
what
little
these
confusing.
fucking things are then.
But just speaking of Hill and the goaltending, what's going to be the starting goalie matchup for game 4?
Skinner.
It's got to be Stu.
It's got to be Stu.
Yeah.
Ginner and Hill.
I wouldn't. I don't want to see it happen. I wouldn't personally do it, but there is a case to start Jack Campbell.
I don't think
What's
so.
your-
There
what's-
is though.
Hang on.
I
let's
still
let's
don't-
dive into it a little bit
I
after
still
we
don't
talk.
think yesterday's pull was because of Skinner. It was to wake the team up, and it's the same as the LA game.
Keep those notes in your mind as we dive into some Boston Pizza Fanalytics. I'll open up the old box score and have a peeky at how our goaltenders did. Because I
for
tend to
Boston.
agree it was a mercy pull. It was like a wake the team up, let's get going. Worked in LA, let's get another dose of the same thing, but it didn't happen. So brought to you by the Fanalytics. What do we got here? Stu faced 23 shots, had 19 saves. That was an 826. Campbell, 10 shots, 9 saves, had a 900 save percentage. Played just under half of the game.
So Campbell has now played in these playoffs 78 minutes and like 40 seconds, 36 seconds, 78 minutes, 46 seconds. In that time, he has a 947 save percentage.
Yeah, but you got to take out yesterday's for the score effects.
That's save percentage.
No, I
That's-
get you, but Vegas doesn't exactly have their foot on the gas pedal when they're up by 4 goals.
No.
So in the LA game, I agree with you because when down 3, probably going to be taking it easy, but that thing got tied up and blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the Vegas thing, there, at what point do you think Vegas was ever really going at like killer instinct trying to score? Like, we don't give a shit. Just keep the clock running.
Like, again, I wouldn't do it and I wouldn't want to see it happen. I want Stu to get his shot. But I think if you were to sit there and you're Jay Woodcroft in your mind going, this team needs a spark. We can't come out flat again. during the regular season, there was almost something to be said of like the way they played in front of Jack Campbell as well. They would like look tighter for whatever reason. Jack Campbell has a 947. He's given us 2 good relief appearances. Stuart Skinner has been average for us through, 9 playoff games now. Let's mix it up a little.
I do think Campbell looked better last night than he did in the LA game.
When Woodcroft asked about his Game 4 starter, he just said, we'll sleep on our lineup decision. So there's no indication from Woody yet, though, as Tyler mentioned, Skinner was.
He knows
in the
damn
starters
well
now.
who he's playing.
Of course he does, but he's not going to tell us.
He also, they asked if Zach Hyman was day-to-day, and Woody said, I'm not going to say that. He just wasn't available to skate. So, like, Jay Woodcroft goes so far.
He likes playing those games.
Well, yeah. Like,
He fucking sets up a magic eye, and it's up to you to figure it out.
like
Depends who
sometimes
comes out
I
of the
like
gate.
it, but sometimes I'm kind of like you could just say, yeah, Zach Hyman's day-to-day. Like, it's not like Vegas is going to be, like, scrambling, changing their game plans because you said he's an unavailable skater. Like, sometimes the answers are, like, so vague that I'm a little like, you could give us something. Anyways.
Now I'm trying not to get worried about Hyman not playing.
I think he'll play.
He's been largely a non-factor through 9 playoff games, so.
Just
You
to
just need one off the chin.
He'll wake him up.
Yeah.
Goes in the net.
He took another one off the head yesterday.
And a knee. Brutal. One thing quickly, I guess, just on how people keep speculating maybe McDavid's hurt. Zach Hyman is hurt and didn't skate today. That should kind of tell you where McDavid's at right now, I think.
Yeah, like Connor McDavid hasn't missed a practice yet.
Yes.
There
okay.
was a part of me in the first period yesterday when they went down 2 that it was like, I was about to start screaming, everybody's hurt, everybody must be hurt. This is what's going on.
It's like Nuge, right? Like, it's like, oh, well, he hasn't scored in 9 games. He must be hurt. We always jump to that.
We're injured.
The snake bite is real for my boy. 0 goals. Like, I know he's got 6 assists, which is fine. But, like, if he had a handful of goals in there, then nobody would be talking about it. But the goals are not going in. He had a great, like Rick said, he had a great chance on the backhand from the slot. Didn't get it to go.
He's
hit countless posts. Might do a little sacrifice for him at some point here.
That's a big thing, too, on the post. You only see the post twice in the first period.
Yeah, if like that one Draisaitl goes in, like maybe we're talking about a different game entirely.
Completely different news. The first period in multiple different ways swayed the outcome of the game, and the Oilers could just never get back on the tracks because they allowed the refs to get in their own heads.
But one thing it does point out is that they have an issue with trying to overcome some sort of internal struggles.
It is
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
Dialing back into the numbers a little bit for our friends at Boston Pizza and the Fanalytics menu. Again, pizza flights. Yesterday they had a post on Twitter, and I saw deep fried pickles. And what do I want to do? I want to eat 15,000 of them. I love deep fried pickles. Will I? Maybe. I eat my feelings sometimes. What I want to get to is 33 shots for Vegas, 28 for the Oilers. Just not nearly enough. They got outshot 2-1 in the first period. Second period, which was a disaster. Shots were even somehow, and then they picked it up a little bit in the third. The Oilers need to put more pucks on net.
Yeah.
They did that in the second game. That first period was ridiculous.
Exactly.
There's your formula.
There's their formula, and it's right there. And the fact that they got away from it so drastically in Game 3 was what bothered
From
me.
the guys in stripes, but I agree with you.
Again, like removing the refs, the Oilers didn't do themselves any favors either.
No, they didn't help each other.
So if I want a Fanalytics boost in Game 4, pucks on net has got to be a huge one. Has to be. I don't care if it's Adin Hill in net. I don't care if it's Brossoit in net magically. I don't care if Jonathan Quick comes up from the ashes.
I kind of do.
Well, I do want him to be in net.
Logan Thompson from the Ashes would be the right one.
Just to back up the point you're making again with those numbers in the game last night. Wait, no, sorry. That would be game 1 of the series. I totally had it wrong. In game 2 of the series, you were talking about how many pucks they threw on net and just how high that number was. 18 shot attempts at 5-on-5.
In the first.
In game 2, yeah.
In the first.
In the first period alone, yeah.
Yeah, like
31 if you count the power play.
I was going to say shot attempts. How many were actually on goal? Can you tell that?
19 on goal. In that
19
game.
shots on goal in the first period. That's how you set the tone.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, last night, Tyler, you can back me up on it. Rogers Place was electric at the start of the game.
It was a library.
It was
quickly after.
bumping in there.
Yeah.
And the man did get quiet. By the time my rule is always I will sit there until the buzzer goes, no matter what the fuck is going on. And it was mighty quiet at the
Even
attack
like
after
when
the
they went
third
down
period.
3-1, there's a point there I was like, oh God, the crowd is like actually out of it right now. And I think part of it is just, and I've always said this about Oilers fans when people are like, oh, why is it so quiet in the regular season and stuff like that? And I was like, we're a smart fan base and we're almost,
You know what's going on.
and we're passionate, but we're not like stupid passionate. We're like in Vegas, they were down 4 in the third, starting go Knights, go chants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in Edmonton, you're not getting that because people know they're not coming back and they're pissed off about what is going on, right? Like there's some places, you think about like college sports, right? It's a bunch of rowdy drunk kids who just want to go scream their faces off and like would do whatever. And Oilers fans are almost like too smart to be like, we got to cheer harder to bring them into it in the third. No, they're pissed off about what's going on.
One thing that always gets me is that if you watch any like European soccer, and it's probably all of Europe, you've got these teams that are like bottom dwellers in the top league, and they go whatever 2-35, and they are singing and dancing and chanting the whole damn time. Doesn't matter if they're up, it's 1-1 or they're down 7-0. That's actually really cool to me. But I get it. I wouldn't be able to do that.
It's like there was a guy last night who DM'd me and said, why the fuck are Oilers fans always so quiet in the playoffs? I'm like, yeah, lots to cheer about when it's 5-1.
Yeah. Like, what do people expect us to be happy? It's like today people are questioning why Tyler and I being critical. It's like they lost 5-1 and they were horrendous. Like things happen and you kind of live in
Doesn't
the
mean you
moment,
give
right?
up.
Yeah,
Nobody's throwing the towel in, but like, let's be honest. Last night was a dog shit game for countless reasons.
I think that was our worst game of the season. And I can't think of another time this year where I was like, man, that was horrendous.
The one that always stands out to me is when they blew that lead and lost to the Canucks on home ice. That one was ugly.
That was bad.
Last night is just because, it's the worst playoff game I've seen them play in a couple years.
There's a Seattle one in there too that was pretty bad.
On the bright side, there's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, sure.
Shut up.
I don't know if people have caught on to this, but like talking about your feelings is kind of therapeutic.
It is very cathartic.
I wonder if the world would be a better place if we took
we all
this
just talk to our feelings
and put it into our everyday
I
lives.
came in today like no radio, no nothing, just dead silent. Don't want to talk about anything. I haven't watched TV.
I'm gonna do that on the way home. Just listen to the engine purr.
Bro, I can't wait for tomorrow night right now.
Yeah, there
way
you
home.
go. Well, for our friends at Betway, I got slaughtered last night. In the worst way, I went 0 for 4 on all my risky business bets that I post up on the site. It was a bloodbath. How do you boys do? Did anybody have any salvage bets that went through?
Who picked Fogle to score?
Definitely not me.
Well, I don't think anyone had Derek Ryan assists, so it should be a pretty quiet night, I think, for the Betway crowd.
Shot props weren't hitting, nothing went.
Shot props weren't hitting. I went Connor Lee on goal again because I got greedy after Saturday when I hit it. Again, no one there. I had a new Ginny time goal. One time I'll get this fucking new Ginny time goal. Did not hit, so yeah, it was a rough one.
Well, there's plus 120 to win the series on Betway right now. Plus 140 to go 6, plus 110 to go 7, plus 400 to go 5, so don't bet on that one.
So don't bet on that.
Why is it still available?
I don't know.
Sorry, what are the odds in the Oilers to win the series again?
Plus 120. Vegas is minus 143. That's tempting. For the Oilers to win the series, 4-2 is plus 330. For them to win in 7, it's plus 300. So you're better off not even betting on the Oilers to win the series directly, but instead to make one of those two.
Yeah, but if you're going to bet on them to win 4-2, let's say you're going to put $100 on it and it pays plus 320.
50-50.
Or just go and bet on them $100 to win next game and then roll the profit and then roll the profit again and you'll end up with more money.
Yeah, but what if they lose the next game, then you win 3 in a row?
It's going to bet on all 3 of them.
System
then you just
betting
start it the next day.
Tyler.
Yeah, that's your Remchuk math there on that.
Remchuk Industries on the...
You can roll that off his tongue
units.
immediately.
Now just roll
I have
it
no
over.
idea if the math works. I think it does, though.
Just roll it over, everybody.
Sounds good.
You heard it here first. But ultimately, games like last night, that's why you bet responsibly. You know?
Yes, that is actually a great lesson.
There you go.
It's games like Saturday, which makes you really bet a little more irresponsibly the next game.
Yeah. No.
100%. You're chasing the dragon there a little bit, and I got caught with that last night.
No one to hold them, no one to fold them.
I did not fold them. I sat there and took my kicks to the shin.
You never should fold them.
Changing gears a little bit, the NHL Draft Lottery happened last night right before the Oilers game started. And as everybody was thrilled about the results based on what I could see on Twitter, the Chicago Blackhawks ended up winning it. So people out in the office yelling rigged in there. What was everybody's thoughts on Chicago getting the first overall pick?
I mean, they might be the worst team in the NHL.
Still.
Yeah, still with him. Like, what was it, Tyler? The best player coming back, highest paid player coming back is Tyler Johnson.
Their highest paid forward is Tyler
sorry.
Johnson. They have 8 forwards under contract for next year, and only 3 of them make more than $1 million.
Hell yeah.
The good news is no teams tank. So
Yes, that is true.
that was
Yeah, didn't
just-
Gary say that?
on January the 22nd
Yeah.
of this year?
As
He
the
said that no teams tank.
And the Chicago Blackhawks were in week 3 of Jujar Kara being their top line left winger. No one's tanking, I swear.
Somebody posted a video last night. Have you ever seen the one of Kobe and Shaq when they're like dialed in on the Lakers and they're just doing dunks and alley-oops to each other? Somebody captioned it Connor Bedard and Jujar Kara next season. I was in tears. I thought it was so funny. But yeah, Kevin Weeks really made a meal of that whole thing by announcing the 3rd pick before it was announced.
Do people understand that the draft lottery happens before the show starts recording?
So I was talking to Frank Saravalli this morning. We're doing a check-in call, and he was, how would you describe it, Tyler? He was locked in the room, no phone,
He had
no
to
laptop.
give up all his electronics, and he got to sit in the room and go read the article. It's
So
cool.
he's a part of the conspiracy, is what you're saying.
And they do film it all for like records. And they at the start of the video, Gary Bettman has 3 different newspapers in front of him, and he holds them all up to confirm the date.
That's so good.
Frank's story on it is so good. You need to read it.
But like what I was talking about with Frank, I was just like, so you were in the room, you did the story, I read the story, it's great. Go check it out at dailyfaceoff.com. But why don't they do that live?
I've kind of thought that too. So other leagues do it live, like just to bring a talk, like the WHL does it live, but except I don't think they do 16 teams or whatever it is. They only do like 6. So it's like a little bit of a smaller scale, but like clearly you know how to do this.
What was the timeline?
How long was it?
I think
How
it
long
only
did it take
takes.
Frank? Like in
I
the,
think it
in
only
the-
takes like 20 minutes.
So the whole like no phone time is 20 minutes.
I bet you half the time is just looking for the friggin' number combination on the listing.
I actually think a lot of it is like a legal thing too. I shouldn't say 20 minutes because like the ball popping up was every 20 seconds. That was the number I was thinking of. Every 20 seconds they call for a new ball. So it really only takes like whatever, 20 times 5 is 100 seconds. A minute 40 seconds for them to pop up. Wow, it's fucking good math. And I think a big chunk of it is. A big chunk of it is like legal, right? Like them reading out to the room of executives, like this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Bettman holds up the newspaper. You don't need to broadcast any of that. But this is the point Frank made. How electric would it be? They pop up the first ball, and Sportsnet has the live percentage changer based on all the combinations. Second ball, boom. Third ball, boom.
I mean,
And
like
then
when
you
a guy
get
gets kicked out of
everybody-
the face-off, and the face-off percentage is
Yeah.
changing. Yeah.
You get everybody jacked up that you've got, whoa, my balls are right there.
And also, you could have like a little ISO cam in the corner of the room, so you could have some television broadcast time to just talk about it ahead of time as well. Like
So you
it's
don't want to
just,
see Daniel Briere with a blank wall behind him just
That
sitting there.
was so funny. He literally was the plainest man
blink
in
twice
the world.
if you're like, I think he's in trouble here.
It wasn't even Briere. It was just a picture of Briere in front of a camera.
the cutout.
I actually quite like when they brought on Pierre Dorian and put him next to Bill Armstrong, and they were just like, yeah, Ottawa doesn't get this pick anymore. And they just took him off the screen. It's like, wow, what a shot on that guy for no reason. Could have just said Arizona get it, but whatever.
Why did it take so long? Like, I don't know if like the Chicago fans waited to see Chicago got, like, as soon as you knew that Columbus dropped, you knew it's because Chicago jumped.
Chicago could have
that's-
jumped to 2, though.
and that's where some of the conspiracy conversation came from, is because
How can they jump to 2?
because if they had won
So- So they do a lottery. They pop up 5 balls for first overall.
Yeah.
It landed on Chicago. Then they pop up another 5 balls for second overall, and it landed Anaheim.
That's the new way of doing it.
So again, when live in the moment, it would have been like anticlimactic to do that second one for Chicago or for Anaheim, I guess. But yeah, you can move up 1 or drop back 2, or move up however many and drop back 2.
It's 3 picks.
10, yeah.
The top 3 picks get.
So they do like 2 rounds of the balls popping up,
Oh, I thought it was 3.
which, as Frank pointed out, is how you know, because again, live in the moment, they don't change out the balls or anything like that. They run the whole thing again. A different combo of 5 pops up, and you have your second overall pick, and that's how you know like the balls aren't weighted or something like that.
Yeah, it's like as soon as I was watching it, and once they moved Columbus down, I was like, well, obviously Chicago won, so maybe that's
But yeah, that's why.
jumping the butt bit.
The star that came up on the screen, though, that made everybody believe that they were announcing
That was something.
pick before the pick was announced.
If
But
you're that,
forgetting the fact that they knew ahead of the entire broadcast, they already knew. It wasn't. It was already over. It was already spoiled. So
But Bill Daly doesn't know, which I find funny. So, like, as he's flipping over those cards, he's finding out in real time, too.
Good. It's like WWE announcers.
Yeah, kind of.
You still want the actual...
You want the real life to it, don't you?
Yeah.
And, like, Kyle Davidson wouldn't have known he was getting the first overall pick because he's not one of the executives in the room.
Yeah. I think
Liam, today you wrote a winners and losers from the NHL Draft Lottery. Give us a couple of what you thought there.
I thought it was hilarious that Arizona Coyotes didn't get a top 5 pick considering they wanted to be the worst team in the league, and their players basically just said, F you, we will not be that bad. And then they probably going to miss out on the top 5 players who are all very, very good. Like I put in there as one of my winners too was, Anaheim, Columbus, Chicago, San Jose, and Montreal, because those 5 players are pretty much franchise-changing players, I think. Like, Connor Bedard, Fantilli, and Leo Carlson are all elite. And then it's like Will Smith and Mishkov, who's kind of the
Will
wild
Smith?
card. Yeah, he's
wow.
Yeah,
Making a comeback.
yeah, he's
making a comeback.
He's a singer,
Taking
he's
a
an
pivot.
actor. Yes, basketball and everything.
Punch just sent him right to the NHL.
The fact Arizona just isn't going to get one of those guys unless Mishkov falls, I think it's just very funny considering what was that team? Who'd they have? What's
Pamelka.
No. All the players they had that never played, like Shea Weber, Hossa, like all those guys. Like,
Chris Pronger.
Hilarious.
Their golf team?
Yeah. And also I gave a little shot at Kevin Weeks too. Sorry, Kevin.
I like
Kevin Weeks coming to you live. He's upset at Liam.
Just like, why? I don't mean this to be rude, but it's going to sound very rude. Why is Kevin Weeks hosting an event like this and the ability to screw that up? Surely there's someone in the NHL network who is like a trained host of an event.
Like Ron McLean?
Sure. Or literally anybody else. Like Kevin Weeks is a former NHL goaltender who just, I don't know. He's an analyst, right? Yeah. Just kind of, I thought it was weird.
I don't know. It wasn't a slip up in like
it wasn't like
competence, really. It was just like it popped up, and I don't know.
That's what I mean, though. Like, why?
Yeah, I guess he should have known not to say anything until, like, mics are always hot.
Yeah, kind of weird, but yeah.
It was weird.
It made me laugh.
What were everybody's thoughts when you saw it was the Blackhawks?
I mean, I don't think they should have had a pick, first of all. Just with everything that kind of went down. Like, the NHL has taken picks away from teams for literally nothing.
For running practices in off-season.
Yeah, and Chicago got their pick after everything that happened. I just think it was wrong that happened, and it just seems like another situation where the NHL is just getting in the way of themselves once again.
Although I have something, a little bit of a beef with some of this. I agree, like the sanctions on the Hawks were brutal, but Frank tweeted out that thing that for good luck Kyle Davidson wrote the name of his daughter and then the name of the daughter he never got to meet because passed away during the pregnancy on his hand. And the comments were all like, should have wrote Kyle Beach's name. Blah, blah, blah. Kyle Davidson wasn't there, man. Yeah. Kyle Davidson was like 23 when that happened, and he was not in any front offices. Like, fuck, people are weird.
I think that's really important that
That's not
like
fair for sure.
everybody hears that every part of that Chicago organization has been wiped clean from president all the way down.
To player, like Jonathan Taves will not be there now. Patrick Kane will not be there. Like, it's been wiped clean. And again, like the ownership, I guess, is still going to benefit from this. They got $2.5 million in season ticket. And like, that sucks. It's shitty. I don't like the franchise didn't deserve it, but the people in the organization are like, it's total turnover. Kyle Davidson did not do anything wrong.
You're 100% right. The only thing I would say is not his fault, should be his problem.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But my final thought is I'm just glad the Anaheim Ducks didn't win the draw.
I saw you tweet that. Like, what was your thinking there?
I just hate the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah,
they
that's fair.
don't deserve anything nice after what Ryan Kessler did to us.
Fair. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Now that I know that's the reason, I agree.
Thing on my mind was, can we get the damn Oiler game going, please? I didn't give 2 shits about that thing last night.
And then
It is nice not, like, I didn't even know it was happening until I saw it on Twitter. I was like, oh, yeah, that is tonight.
Yeah, it's whatever.
You know what?
I'm not worried about him.
Well, and also the draft is now in Nashville. So Chicago and Nashville, of course, have quite a rivalry. So he's going to
go back to Nashville now.
He's going to get heavily booed at the draft as well as home. That's just going to be the added cherry on top.
You got to put the Oilersnation sticker back now.
I will.
Thank you.
It's the only reason I'm going.
I will say, even though the others don't have a pick in this draft, I'm very, very excited for it. This 2005 class was the first one. The first year I started scouting was these kids when they were in U15, so it's kind of cool. And there's a lot of lot of good Western Canadian players in this one. Zach Benson is one I pointed out.
What year
on
did you say these kids
Oilersnation
were born?
2005.
One more time, please.
2005.
I'm going home.
Yeah, we're old.
I was already out of high school. And shit.
We're old,
Dude,
he
that was 1
says.
year. That was
I
1
know.
year away
Don't
from
lock
the
yourself in with
06
us.
run.
You thought it was 1 year away from
We're
the 06
ancient.
run. Yep, not me though. I haven't aged at all. I don't feel old at all.
You had to jog around our hotel room to start the engines.
That is true. I did do that.
Understandable. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Vegas, baby.
Maybe some jumping jacks.
By the way, shout out to our friends at AMA Travel. I know we didn't do a breakdown of our trip to Vegas on this podcast. I mean, we did a little bit when we were there for the Friday episode, but it was great. I had a great time. AMA Travel made it very, very easy for us, especially with the schedule change. A lot of things got fucked up. We met so many people. I'm not going to repeat everything that we said on Friday, but we met so many people that just their plans were just ruined. And without AMA Travel, we wouldn't have had as easy of a go as we did. Really quickly, before we get to word association, I just want to let's do a couple of keys to victory to bounce back in Game 4. Make sure that we got the series evened up when we head back to Vegas in Game 5.
Give a shit.
That's a big one. Rick?
Execute.
Whomst.
Everybody. Everything.
Except Fogle, he
Passes,
deserved a night off.
shots, Everything.
You want the team to execute, or you want to execute everybody?
Both.
Well, it depends what happens.
Yeah, I'll tell you
Got
a
it.
pre-game answer and a post-game answer.
That video that we posted on ON of the coach slapping each player walking by today.
Yeah, that was a good
That's funny.
That was exactly it. Dan, key to victory for
Shots on net. I want Adin Hill's pads to be the color of the puck.
1A, shots on net. 1B, bodies in front.
Let's see if his pads are the same colors as the puck. That means he made all the saves.
Rick, you know what I meant. No.
I want them to replace the net then. How's that?
Yeah, I want
Because the
holes
net's
in
going
the
to rip
pads.
through.
Yes.
My key to victory, dude, literally the complete opposite of what you did yesterday, and they should be fine.
And I'll just add on to that, simplify. They played such a simple game in Game 2. The results were there. That's how the Oilers are successful. Don't try and get cute. Let's get greasy. Let's create our own chaos. They got this. They got this. Tyler, it is time for your award-winning segment. We have got how many words, and what is our order for word association?
4. All need to be one-word answers this time, all right?
Nah.
Stiffening
Rules
the
are-
rules.
Jay's not invited.
Rules.
And we'll go Liam first,
No.
but then we're going to go around to BM me, and then we'll end with Dan. So Dan gets to go last today.
Wow.
Ready?
Let's
I
go.
don't know.
Number 1, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Nuge.
Cold.
Icy.
Invisible.
Do.
I like that little positive spin on that one. I think that.
Last night's reffing.
Horrendous.
Shit.
Shit.
Par for the course. Yeah, I get
Okay,
it.
there's hyphens in that.
Average.
Shitty.
For the league, that's what I'm saying.
How will the Oilers respond tomorrow?
Positively.
Flex.
Flex. Oh,
We just caught it. There's an echo in here.
you. Big.
Win.
Electric.
Leafs being down 3-0.
Lol.
I don't care.
Hilarious.
Hyphens.
Unremarkable.
Job's not done. Like, I care about the Oilers series. I don't give a fuck about theirs.
Fair.
One
Tomorrow
thing
night could be really fun, though.
I was saying to Rick and Tyler before the show was, if they get swept, they will be the only team in the salary cap era still not to win a game in round 2, despite getting
When
that.
did the salary cap come in?
405.
Yeah.
Oh, my lord.
When Bedard was born.
Special team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. What would we do without you? We'd all be laughed at way more.
Probably get better coverage on TV of
actually very
literally
true.
everything else.
We would probably be the butt of a lot more jokes, though.
Yeah.
The Edmonton Oilers in general.
Should all be thankful for them, really.
It's true. The Bruins fans should be thankful for them.
Yes, definitely.
That's really saving
There's
their
got to be a
lives.
Canadian team or two that have gone, we went 2 series in 17? 3 series.
Yeah, 2 series.
2 series, went 3 series last year. We're at 2 right now.
Every team in Canada has gone to a conference final besides the Toronto Maple Leafs in the salary cap.
Thanks to the
I
bubble
know.
for Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. Right?
Thankfully, none of them won.
Winnipeg did.
No,
They've at least won a round.
Yeah,
Jets, remember they
around.
went on that run and they met Vegas one year.
Yeah, they met
Did they in
Vegas
the conference
Vegas'
finals?
inaugural season.
I thought it was Nashville in the conference finals.
They won a round. They've definitely won a round. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
much.
They beat us.
Well, they beat us.
They have one around, yes.
That stupid
Yeah,
Bud
no.
Light seltzer can.
The worst part about that is that the league has had 2 expansion teams and they've both won games in round 2 before Toronto did. Seattle and Vegas.
Oh, they start on third base, though.
True.
Is there one more, Tyler?
No, that was all.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
I was waiting with bated breath.
Dog shit segment.
Another excellent.
During the episode this time, you had that done beforehand, didn't you?
I got it done during the delicious debate. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. We'll wrap up the episode, the Tuesday episode of Oilers Nation Radio. Here's hoping on Friday we are celebrating a series evening.
Evening up.
Score prediction for tomorrow, Liam.
5-1 Oilers.
4-2 Oilers, Dan.
7-2 Oilers.
6-2.
5 rip.
Yup. I like it.
There you have it for our friends at Greta Boston Pizza, AMA Travel, and Betway. Thank you for being here. And if you're in Edmonton, make sure to pop into a Noodle, get yourself some stickers. If they are out of stickers at any of the locations, just let us know. We will have them restocked. We'll have them ready for you. Until Friday, put out some positive mojo into the universe. Let's make sacrifices to the hockey gourds if we need to. Let's all have alibis, provided that you are making sacrifices. Don't actually do that. Allegedly, in my opinion. Tyler?
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
No, not really.
All right.
Go Oilers.
Go Oilers, go.
Kill.